How many
That's good.
houses can be destaged and staged in one day with a 3-man crew?
4 installs, 4 removals
Damn.
is the max.
And they all 3 work together
You're
at the
running
same
2
time?
teams. No,
Okay.
you're
Oh,
running
so-
2
okay.
teams at
Okay.
that point. So if we're doing 4 installs a day, you have 2 doing 2 and 2, and the other team's doing 2 and 2.
Welcome to the Everyday Millionaire Show with Ryan Greenberg and Nick Kalfas.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Everyday Millionaire Show. We're here today with Aimee Breeden. How you doing, Aimee?
I'm good. How are you?
Studio A Staging, a longtime sponsor of the events that we throw,
Yeah.
and the baller that brought the photo booth last time.
Photo booth. That was
Yeah.
a good
Yeah,
time.
that was a good
Yeah,
time.
thank you for that.
Speaking of
Yeah.
that, now that we're here and doing this podcast, and it's not an opportune time for me to ask you this, do you have those pictures somewhere, like on a?
I have to.
I think they get texted
Check-
to you, right?
We-
No, but I
No.
wanted to get all of them so we can
I
like
know.
post a cool.
We were
thing.
supposed to have them. I will circle back on
Yeah,
that. 'Cause
I'd
I
like
know
to
you
make a
asked.
post
Yep.
and like do like
Yeah.
a slide
Absolutely.
of them. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
we've been trying to do the social media thing better.
Yeah. It's a good thing to do.
It's tough.
That's like a lot of our business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about your business. How did you guys get started in staging, and what kind of separates you from the other stagers around?
Oh gosh. So when I started Studio A Staging, I've been staging homes for 10 years now. And when I started, it was honestly just an idea of like, yeah, there's not a lot of home staging companies in the area. I enjoyed design. I loved redecorating my house. And honestly, like at the time I couldn't afford it. So it was like redoing the same room over and over and over again, like repainting the same wall, all different colors. And at that point, my boyfriend at the time, was in real estate. And he's like, why don't you stop doing our house and start doing houses for other people? Okay.
That makes sense.
Long story short, one house turned into 2, 3. I would buy all of our furniture off of Craigslist. So it wasn't like what you imagine, like going online and, shopping on Wayfair and all of these well-known stores. This was the most, trying to find the most affordable way possible to do this with not a lot of money. It's not like I was given money by my parents or
Right. So when you're buying furniture, especially on Craigslist, do you do you think about like the weight and how it affects like your people installing it in the beginning, or you just like kind of didn't care, you needed cheap stuff?
I really just needed cheap stuff. And when I started, it was me and one guy. And that was it.
How many sets of furniture did you start with? And then as far as storage, because like I've never thought about starting a business
now I'm
like
running
that,
the
but
whole
like
thing through my head. Like, how do you start a staging company?
Yeah.
All right.
Not
We
that
can
I
get
want to
into the
compete
nitty-gritty
with
here.
you.
Yeah.
No. So I was a nanny. I was a full-time nanny. And my father owned a laminate company. So he had trucks that he used to operate his business. So when I started, and once we got to, 3 houses, it was needing the trucks more. So his business ended at 3:00. I finished nannying at 4:00. And my nights consisted of shopping, buying, driving, renting U-Hauls. I mean, I would go all over trying to pull these houses together. Now, our houses then were nothing like our houses now. So we're talking like couch, one side table, a lamp, like very minimal.
Right.
And it was
Now, just for everybody listening, we get like books that are opened up on the bed with like special turned pages and like little
Very
fake
detailed,
plants
very,
and
very-
stuff like that.
the
Yeah, stuff that we
details.
don't really think about. So
Yes.
they do a very, very good job.
Yes, the details are very important to us. But, we started with one house and my goal was 8.
At one time.
At one time, I was like, look, like, I don't want any more than 8 houses. I'm good. I'm done. Once we get to 8, I'm maxed out. Right now, we have 84 properties staged in and around Baltimore.
Wow.
Okay, so let's break that down.
Yeah, I want to know like what did it
Yeah.
like as far as the furniture at the beginning? How many sets did you have, and then did you just like buy a certain amount of sets every so often?
And does one set? I'm gonna hit you with too many questions now, so I'll stop here. But does one set stay as a set, and it goes from house to house, or do you intermingle sets with each other?
So our system is essentially every house should go to another house. So people always say to me like, how do you charge? So when it comes to cost of staging, we're very affordable. Our cost is very competitive to a lot of other staging companies. But my mindset was never so much that I wanted a huge warehouse and I wanted all of these offices. My mindset was more so if we have houses that are hitting our warehouse, we're not running a profitable business. So our warehouse is used for backstock, and essentially one house goes to the next. So my team doesn't spend 3 hours a day pooling one house. I mean, like some companies.
So the houses are your warehouse, essentially. So all your stuff is out there in the
Yes.
field. That's actually so your warehouse, your storage now is just like overflow, or you always have a house or two like backed up.
Yes. So we'll have like backstock. We try to keep at least 1 or 2 houses that are set there. Other than that, it's more so large dining tables, smaller dining tables, just in case if we remove one of your properties and if it has a small dining table, but it's going into a house that has a large dining table, we need to have that available.
Right.
So you basically have 84 sets that are out right now.
Yes.
What's your capacity if the houses that you have out now aren't turning over and you have like, a lot more come in? Do you have the capacity, or just is there still only a few in the warehouse to where you can only do
Or you
up
just
to
buy
maybe
more?
90?
We buy more.
Buy more. Yeah.
We buy more. I mean, last year we staged 800 to 850 houses in the year.
Holy shit. So that's like you turned over the same sets like 10 times almost? Jeez. Okay.
So we do 30-day terms.
Yeah.
I mean, it works. And I don't, January, December, they're more so our slower months. So the properties, the houses do sit for more so like 60 days. But it's very rare that a whole house actually gets unloaded back into the warehouse.
Wow.
At what point did that start happening? And like, I guess, from the beginning, maybe you had to take your, 8 sets that you had back to a warehouse, or was it always like that from the beginning? And then you just continually grew as your business grew as far as the furniture that
That's
you had?
a really good question. And I feel like I have just grown as I have bought more inventory as the business has grown. So we've never been to a point where all of our houses, even 10 years ago, where all of our houses were back in the warehouse.
That sounds like logistical.
It's very logistical.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of planning.
It is. It is. My mind's constantly spinning on what's
because you
next.
also have to think about, I'm like in my head like building out this business, like you also have to think about, so like the house that you have staged for me might not fit, like you said, a dining room table, whatever, might not fit. You might have a 6-bedroom house here, and you got to like think about one house going to the other, and the type of furniture, the size of the furniture, like all that stuff. So how does your team like look, and who does that planning? Like, is it you that does all the planning? Do you have people besides your installers that are helping you do that kind of planning?
Yes. So we have our designers that are in each property. I am more so on the back end overseeing what they're doing virtually, which is where I come in with the logistical. This is going to go here, this property is going to go to this property, and this is what we need for this property. this coffee table might be a dated coffee table, so that can come back to the warehouse and we'll replace that. It's that kind of stuff. But when it comes to bedrooms, and rooms being staged and the logistics of that, I try to keep everything very consistent. We are more investor based than we are homeowners, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our clients like consistency. You come to us because it's consistent. You've worked with us before. You know what you're going to get. You know the process. We're very easy to deal with.
So wait, for retail buy, like, so if you were to, let's say, stage somebody that was like just a retail, like your husband sells retail
Yes.
houses, right?
Yes.
So are those people easier to work with or harder to work with than investors? And do you charge them more?
They're about the same because we've already most likely established the relationship with the realtor, right?
Okay.
Most of our clients come to us from a referral. Or they follow us on social media, so they see our work repetitively day in and day out.
What's your percentage like of investors to retail people?
I would say 85.
Investors?
Yes.
Oh, damn. Okay.
We have a very, very high percentage of investors. And it's, again, like I didn't plan for that to happen, but it's worked out because it's repeat.
Yeah.
It's repeat business, and it's building the relationships, it's building the trust.
Yeah, I imagine it's way easier to have the same guy doing 10 houses a year than dealing with 10 different realtors and 10 different
Well, it's probably
homeowners.
just in general easier to deal
It's
with
a text
investors.
message. It's a text message for the most part.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how, like, maybe I'm just ignorant and I just know two of you guys, but like there's only two stagers that I know of around here. So is there any, like, are there other staging companies besides you and the other one?
There are. I mean, there's a good amount of home staging companies now.
There are? Okay.
Yeah, there are. And they do a very nice job too. It's more so, can you deliver? How do you customer service is a big thing, obviously.
So with other businesses like ours, like sometimes more is not better. Do you guys have like a goal of where you, like, how many houses you did 850 or whatever last year? Do you want to do 1,000 this year? What would be like, would there be bottlenecks in growing more? Do you think you'd make a lot more money, or like what's your kind of take on that?
As long as I'm not doing less, I'm happy.
Have you grown consistently over
Yes.
the 10 years?
About 150.
So how many guys in the field setting up the staging equipment and furniture and trucks do you need to stage 800 and some houses a
We
year?
are small, but we are mighty. I have 3 full-time installers, and then there's me and 2 other designers.
And then, so they just drive one truck. Do they still rent?
We have 3 trucks.
Okay.
3 trucks, like
And are they box trucks or?
We have 1 box truck and we have 2 transit vans.
Gotcha.
I just bought a transit van today.
Yeah. They're nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
haven't seen it yet, but
Oh, there you go.
my project manager drove it, said it was good. I think the vans are the way to go.
They are. Because anyone can drive it.
Yeah.
I
They're
mean,
easy to drive. You could fit a lot of stuff in them.
Exactly.
And they're not so bad to park, especially in the city.
So the reason I personally like the box truck is because we also keep back stock in it.
That makes sense. Becomes a storage unit of
So
itself.
we keep artwork, we keep decor. In the back of it, we've put shelves up. So we have bins of decorative items where we can pull stuff out, swap stuff out with artwork underneath, and it works out really nice.
How long have the 3 guys who set up the staging been with you?
My lead installer has been with me from day 1.
Wow.
The first house I ever walked into.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 years.
Nice.
And then the second installer, he's been with me for 3.
Yeah.
So Rob is our lead installer. He has been with me from the first property we ever walked into. Anyone, if you're in a property that when we're staging, Rob is there. He could build a house. If I needed him to build a house, he could build a house from the bottom up. And then the other 3 years and 2 years. And then I have my girls, the designers that are in houses every day. 2 years, and then Grace is our newest addition. Grace has been with us for about 5 months now, and she's amazing.
So how did you know that you needed to hire another designer?
Volume, busy, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
My girls like to be in a lot of different areas. So like they'll be in properties and they enjoy being creative in properties, but they also enjoy the social media aspect of it all. And they also enjoy the marketing aspect. So it's not like they're just in these properties, making beds and fluffing plants, and placing furniture. It's more than that. And it has to be more than that in order to, really get the whole feel for the business.
Mm-hmm.
So for like scalability, do you think would be your next hire would be another designer?
We're hiring. We're hiring.
Or another designer or installers?
So I'm always looking. I'm always open to hiring. You know what I mean? If it's the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
If I had someone call me, or if I'm out shopping, if I'm in a boutique, I find my girls at boutiques, because look, if you're fashionable and if you can pull together an outfit, you don't have to have a degree or go to school to be a home stager or have an interior design background. You don't. I mean, it's you have to have a sense of style, and everything else I can teach you.
Right.
And that's how we've done it. I mean, my most successful designers have had no background.
Do you have an idea of like how many more properties you'd have to do to justify another designer? And does that like cross your mind? Like, okay, if I hire somebody, our profit margins are going to get, shrunk by this much, and we'd have to do this many properties more to make that up? Or do you just say, screw it, we're going to get another person and we're going to grow because we have that person?
Or do you do commission?
So I have done incentive in the past, incentive to do more volume, right? I don't, I am very comfortable at where we're at rather than trying to drive them to do more. I don't want them to get burned out, and it's very easy to get burned out in this industry, especially doing the volume that we do. I don't know of another home staging company that even does close to the volume that we do. So it's maintaining, their happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And we have always found that 2 designers, myself behind the scenes, our admin, and with the installers in the house, it's comfortable that way.
So
Yeah.
how many
That's
houses can be destaged and staged in one day with a 3-man crew?
4 installs, 4 removals
Damn.
is the max.
And they all 3 work together
You're
at the
running
same
2
time?
teams. No,
Okay.
you're running 2 teams at that point. So if we're doing 4 installs a day, you have 2 doing 2 and 2, and the other team's doing 2 and 2.
So you mean like there's 2 guys in one team and then
One guy and
one
the
guy
other.
in the other one?
Yes, and a girl. Yep.
Oh, okay, so got
Yes.
it. And is the girl the
Yes.
designer that's
Yes.
helping the other guy? Okay.
Oh, I see. That makes sense. Okay.
It's not all rainbows and sunshine.
Yeah. So she goes there and shows that guy where everything's
She'll help him
going.
carry out the couch.
Right.
You know, I mean, if we get an overflow, like January was a really slow month for us. But it's
January and February always suck. I feel like it's actually, for me, our business slows down like Thanksgiving until like the first or second week in February, and then we're like starting to pick up again.
December was fine. And up until December was fine, but January. And now when I say slow, I'm talking like 36 houses in, slow.
Mhm.
That's like it, everyone got to take a break, which was really nice. You get to focus more in the, behind the scenes of the business, which is nice. It's not like I have these full-time employees that are just sitting at home, lounging on the couch. There's always something that someone can be doing.
So in regards to the market being slow, I know you said you offered the 30-day contract, and during those slow periods for you or any other business, do you see that they're asking for extensions? A lot of the
Yes.
investors.
Yes.
Yeah.
In January I saw the most extensions than I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely was slow.
I mean, at one point I had, I want to say like 27 renewals.
Well,
which,
that's great for you, right?
you know what? That's how you guys think, but for me, so many people
You just
say
wanna
like
turn it over.
that's it.
Mhm.
I am, you got to remember, like, as much as it's my business, I thrive off of
The turnovers, kind
The-
of like a hard money lender, right?
the
Like,
customer service
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a property and you've worked with me for 5 years and you have something that you need staged, but I can't do it,
mhm.
Yeah.
I need that inventory.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the importance of staging too,
Mm-hmm.
because as somebody that sells real estate and now like building out this real estate sales team, like I tell everybody, like, you need to stage your houses. I should have. This is the one thing I didn't prepare. I was gonna do this, look up statistics of like how fast properties sell, and I don't even know if you could find like true.
Well, it's definitely faster,
But
hands down.
the like ability to see the house in a certain light, like even the house that I just flipped, that one, when you got where they put like the TV was not even where I planned on putting the TV.
Right.
Like they put a painting in front of where the TV outlet is. Like, and I didn't even think of the house in that way. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
that's cool. That's a
Yeah.
cool like iteration. But
Yeah.
from a buyer's perspective, somebody that's not used to seeing an empty house, when you walk in there and you see furniture, you're like, it makes your mind say, oh, okay, this is where I'd sit. This is where the cat, like it visually like
Yeah.
really does help. And especially when you're retail, like if you're selling to a retail, like a wife and a
Yes.
husband,
Yes.
the wife needs this. You need to have staging there. Like you need to have staging.
Well, and I mean, a lot of people might want to move, right? Like they might have to move, but they might not have to move. So if if you're a husband and the wife and I don't know about you guys, but I'm always looking at, what's coming on the market for personal and vice versa. But like, if you're scrolling through photos, especially from a marketing standpoint, and you see a vacant house, you can't look at that, empty room,
Especially
and
on pictures.
Yeah.
no, and think to yourself like,
Oh, a couch will fit there. Will
oh,
a
that's
couch fit there?
beautiful,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
really pretty.
Yeah.
But whereas like if it is staged and you're scrolling through these pictures, you're like, wow, that's a big living area, or that's a great sized bedroom.
Yeah, because that's where it starts, right? Online, everyone's on their phone or their
Everyone's
computer.
online.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you have to get the staging and professional photos done
You
as
do.
well to make it
That's
really
what I
pop.
feel like. It makes selling real estate really easy and really hard because there's so much access to so many houses. It's like buying stuff on Amazon. Like you can buy so many different
Well, I
things.
guess once you narrow down the neighborhood, and then you can see the inventory at that point.
Right, but you're just scrolling and seeing so many houses that like you're building up these like expectations. I feel like that you're like, oh well, now I saw that house have this and this. So like being on Zillow, you could just see so many.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the people that are on dating apps. Like
Yes.
there's too many. Like I got lucky and I didn't really need to go on dating apps
Right.
when they came out. So like.
Yep.
There's when I imagine just like swiping and swipe, like you become desensitized to like to people online,
do.
right?
You
It's
do.
the same as with houses, I imagine.
Yes. And now you're also going to, go into setting yourself apart from the competition, right? Like if you have an occupied home and say it's, they have decluttered and they have depersonalized, and if it's showing really, really nice, but then you have a vacant home, which one are you really going to go choose to see
Right.
first?
And the other thing, sorry to Marcus because he takes all of our pictures when you don't stage them, but I think it's important when you guys stage them that you take the photos too, because it's like you know exactly what you want to like outline and see in those photos. So whenever we have staging, we always have you guys take the pictures too, and I feel like they always just like you look at the right things, like you're focusing on all the right things. So that's another.
You guys do
kinda
photos
tip.
also?
Well, so that I was gonna say, so like, it's interesting you say that. We don't have an in-house photographer, so I have worked with, we have tried to work with many different photographers over the years, right? we always go back to the same one. He's not in house, but
he knows exactly what you guys
it's
are
the
doing.
angles.
Yeah,
It's
he knows
all
exactly what you
about
guys are doing.
where you stand, the level you get, what you zoom in on, what you don't, and he does an incredible job. And you know, I'm a perfectionist, so like when we're staging these houses, it's not like we're just putting a plant on the ground. You know, we're putting a tree in that corner and we're angling it so that it's going to be in our head like the photographer is going to stand over there, and when he captures this room, the tree is going to be at the right angle and the pillows are going to be at the right angle, and you know, the canister or the fruit bowl, everything is like
Those details.
in our head.
Did you like my tree with Christmas bulbs on it still? That's pretty dope, right?
It is. It's great.
It's good staging. We
Very
staged
festive.
that right
very
there.
festive.
Is it in the shot though?
It's gotta be. We'll pan to it later. It's covered in drywall dust too. It's incredible. Maybe we'll have to have Aimee come and stage my house too. So give me like the hardest thing that you had to go through building your business. One of like the things that the struggles.
Demand is a big struggle that I battle with. You know, the being able to right now in the business, I'm having a really hard time with scheduling because we're booked 2 weeks out. And as nice as it is to be able to say that, right? That's a really good problem to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good problem to have because I like to be able, to service my people. And when I have to say, oh, we're booked, you have to wait 2 weeks. That's never really been why I've been in this business. So I would say demand is a big struggle. Other than that, employee management is more difficult than you would think.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we understand.
Yeah.
My guys work with my girls every single day in the houses every single day. I'm not there. I'm more behind the scenes.
Right.
So that's challenging. But
You said you have an admin. Do you have like a person doing like the scheduling and stuff or the paperwork?
just the agreements, the
Okay.
invoices.
Okay.
Have you ever had like accidents in houses where they're moving something and nicks a wall or anything like that?
Yes, I would say my
You do 850 homes. You had to screw
yeah,
something up.
yeah,
You gotta screw something
absolutely,
up. There's no way.
absolutely. And that's where it goes back to a lot of our clients are in the industry, so they're very. It's very rare that we hear about any damages happening. I think just because they're, they either have
People fix it. We just
someone
fix it.
to fix it,
Yeah.
that's very close by. But I'll say a negative feedback, right? Negative feedback. Our biggest struggle as a business is artwork. Okay. Putting nails in the walls. When we started, we would use command strips, and that's how we would hang our artwork because we didn't want to put nails in the wall. And one time we had a piece of art hanging and it fell on the hardwood floor and it damaged the hardwood floor. The command strip didn't stay hung. So ever since then, we have used nails. And some people get upset about that. And, with how many houses we stage, we sometimes forget to put it out there. Like, hey, we use small nails. You can go to Home Depot and get a little filler and, put it in there. But there are little holes. But what I'll also say, flip the coin, we're not just like, I don't even hang artwork. Like my girls, they don't hang artwork. Like it's measured, it's leveled, everything, most likely when a buyer does move into the property, they should be using the same holes.
Right.
It's not, they shouldn't have to go in and move it to the left, or unless obviously their furniture is bigger.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's like a couple nails and
That's
you
it.
sold your house, and you
There you
made
go.
hopefully you made some money selling the
There
house,
you
so you could
go.
fix a couple of little
There you
holes
go.
in the wall. Yeah, I actually did think of that, like because I saw some of the stuff that you guys hung up, and I was like, did they hang that with command strips?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way, like
Yeah.
that would definitely fall. So
Yes. No, it
I'm
fell.
glad I
And
figured that out.
we repaired the floors.
I recently walked into a house that we manage, and the contractor that did the job hung the freaking vanity mirror with the command strips, it was a light vanity mirror, but what happened was the vanity mirror fell, and it turned the faucet on, and luckily the drains worked real well because it was, and I have no idea how long it was running because we just showed up and that was happening, but the faucet was just running full blast, and the thing I was
boy.
like, who
That's
the hell would
crazy.
hang
Yeah.
a mirror with stickers?
I know.
boy.
Well, and for it to hit the faucet and leave it on for a while.
But it didn't break the mirror. So it was like a cheap Amazon mirror. Mirror didn't break. The faucet got turned on, and it was literally just flowing water for God knows how long.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because that would have been really bad luck.
Yeah, and it was a 2-unit. This was a really shitty part. It was a 2-unit. It was
So the owner paid?
It was the upstairs unit.
Oof.
Well, there was no damage. I
Okay.
literally just had to hang.
Well, I meant for the water bill. I know if it's
the
Baltimore
water
City,
bill.
then, yeah.
It was Baltimore City, but it was a 2-unit. So had that like just got clogged up or anything, it would have rained on the downstairs unit, and they would have had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my command strip story.
That doesn't peel. Like, I've never really dealt with the command strips.
Well,
but
it
that
peel
doesn't
paint.
peel paint. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's the same shit.
When people ask me, like, why don't you use command strips? I'm like, what do you?
Yeah.
Why would
Yeah.
you want us to use command strips?
So this is so funny. I have to tell this story. So a couple years ago, Aimee invites Tyler and I to this dinner. And we thought it was this casual, like, we had no idea what we were getting into. We were like, oh, free food. Yeah, we'll go. Like, that's cool. And we went there, and it was at this fucking really fancy restaurant. And I should have done our research before. We showed up like, I would be nice if I said I was in this, but I was like, I had my PE property shirt on, like probably just came from work, probably had gym shorts on or something stupid. And we walked in, we're like, oh, damn it. We do not fit in. Like, she's in some big dress and like looking all fancy. Everybody's got, I think your husband had a fucking suit on.
Probably.
And we were like, we can't stay. Like, we can't stay. I was like, we can't leave. There's like, it's like this little room and there's only like 15 or 20 people sitting around this table. Like, we have to stay here. And then the only thing I remember is like the guy, your installer
Rob,
guy,
yeah.
he looked like us. Like, he
Yep.
was dressed very normally. And I was
Yep.
like, that's the guy. That's
There
our
you
guy
go.
right there. Like,
There
we
you
can't
go.
talk to these guys in suits. Like, we look so silly.
That's funny.
I think Jesse might have been at that dinner
Yeah,
too.
he was there.
He was.
Yeah.
Actually.
I don't know why we haven't done more of them.
Oh, well, next time I know, I'll dress up.
There you go.
So, quick little plug before we get going. We are doing another event April 11th at CVP's, same place. We have over 150 people already RSVP'd, so that's cool. I think the goal this time is 300. I think we hit.
I think you can do it. It was a
200
great
this
event.
time. We were close to 200 on the signups, and then I imagine there was people that didn't actually sign
all the
in or
time,
anything.
yeah.
So we're going off that. So CVP's 6 to 9 on April 11th. You have anything else for Aimee here before we let her go?
I think you shared a lot of good information and a
So
lot of stuff that we didn't really know
Studio A
about
Staging, how do they find you?
Instagram, Facebook,
Instagram, Facebook, Studio A Staging.
website.
If you are here, and where that was another question just for anybody listening. Where do you go? Because I recently did a flip that you couldn't go to.
So really, so we're based out of Baltimore, and we try to stay within like an hour and 15
Okay.
from that. Again, it depends on time of year. It depends on our scheduling. If we're, booked, if we're available, and all that good stuff. But I always say, don't ever hesitate to reach out.
Yeah,
and
I think
just ask.
we reached out and you were like, no.
Yeah, probably not.
Too far. It wasn't me that reached out.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
a client of mine
Oh, well,
in Elkton. It was far.
All
I
right.
hated going there. I'm selling it. We're closing this Friday. It was a terrible drive every single time. Dean is a great guy, the owner, and a good client, but oh my God, it was such a freaking disaster driving there every time through traffic and all that stuff. Anyway, we're digressing. Thanks for listening, everybody. Aimee, thanks for coming down.
Thank
And,
you.
Thanks for
until
coming.
next time.